all? Come on, I can't think that you have so less energy. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Come on, speak louder. You're going to represent the countries and do some great good to this world. So let's show that energy today. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Distinguished principal of this college, school, international school, Dr. Lakshmi Rao, and chief guest of this function along with me, Mr. Shushuji, and as well as Dr. Shobhaji, distinguished faculty members, and my dear young leaders of various countries. Good morning to you all. First of all, I don't know, ma'am, whether I will ever get a chance to address UN, but you gave me that today, so I'm really grateful to you and grateful to International School. And I'm so happy and proud to see all the young minds sitting here to deliberate on what kind of activity to be done in this world. That's the essential intent of UN, is that right? So, with a very noble thought, we all have come here to participate in this General Assembly meeting of UN. I wish you very, very all the best in your deliberations, in your discussions, and the conclusions that you bring in. I'm sure will really contribute to your great policy making to transform this world. How many of you like politics? Please raise your hands. How many of you like politics? Out of, I asked the principal that how many of you are here. He said that there are about 160 people, but the number of hands that are raised are not even 10, 15. So you don't like politicians and politics. Is that right? Okay, relax. But today, though you don't like politics and politicians, you have come here to represent your country as a politician of your country. So I don't know whether you're doing the job that you like or you don't like, but essentially you are today to represent your country as a leader. The very purpose of UN, I'm sure you would have really discussed about it. It's not a body to govern the nations. It's a body to facilitate a global framework, a legal framework, or ethical framework, so that all of us live cohesively on this mother earth. That's the essential idea of being UN. We are a country of, we are a world of 185 crores, recognized and unrecognized nations all put together. I think we are somewhere around 195 plus. Among them, in India alone, we are about 40 crores of young population. I think you are called as Gen Alpha. Every day today in the media we are all talking, particularly after meet Dharna that has happened in Delhi. Everybody is talking about Gen Z. But I'm sure whether you represent Gen Z or Gen Alpha, but you are the future of this country. You are going to determine the success of the nation, the progress of the nation, and the progress of the world too. So that's the reason you are representing your countries and your schools here. It is the youth who are going to transform this nation, drive this nation in a progressive era. Anybody in this world who has achieved excellence, they have achieved excellence, and the countries have achieved excellence only because of the contributions made by the youth. Maybe in the freedom movement, maybe in the science and technology, maybe in the social sector, political sector. It is all the contributions made by the youth. So I'm sure from international schools deliberating in this UN conference, I'm sure you are showing such kind of leadership thoughts in your mind so that you really contribute to this country and to the world is what I really believe. Because of the kind of technology growth that we are seeing, we may call ourselves as independent nations, but we we are interdependent nations. The very idea of UN is not to think in an isolated manner, but an inclusive manner, where our dependence, our sustenance, our growth is dependent on others' sustenance, others' growth, others' progress. That is the broader idea of the UN. Most of us think that, if I am happy, everybody around is happy. No, but that kind of an isolated perspective that people generally have. But the moment you wear the hat of a leader coming to UN Council, you are not only defending or fighting for the rights and the prospects of your nation, but you also have to ensure people around you, the various countries, are also successful enough. So therefore, that idea of interdependence has to be ingrained in you when you are debating with your colleague nations, is what I would like to drive. The other important aspect of it that I wish to share with you, at one point of time we not have so much of interdependence that we have felt. But today, I think that interdependence is so much so felt. If there is a war in Ukraine, war between Ukraine and Russia, India suffers. If there is a server breakdown of Amazon in some country like Germany or Frankfurt or any other parts of the world, then your entire supply chain management is affected. If there is a policy change of, let's say, EV batteries export policy of China is altered, that no more exports of EV batteries to any other country, particularly to India, Indian EV sector will be totally suffer. So that means we are truly interdependent, as I was suggesting to you, not only in terms of resources, but very sustenance of the nations is dependent on how well we complement each other, how well we collaborate with each other, how well we are compassionate and then try and understand the needs of the various countries, and we live like a Vasudhaiva Kutumbam. That's what our traditions say, that we live like a one family, a global family, in a global village, is what the essence of the UN. The other thing that I wanted to go upon when you are deliberating is technology, the growth of technology. I think AI particularly. AI is a great tool to transform the social process or national progress, but at the same time, AI could also be a monster. The technology could also be a monster, uncontrollable monster. So in a context like that, what is that kind of policies that you require to make in your respective nations? What is that as a globe that we all have to accept to have a common legal, international legal, I think there were 5 or 6 themes that you have set in, and one of the themes is international law. For example, today, AI is an answer for online education or a quick speed education, unlimited access to abundance of knowledge, information, data, and so on. AI is an answer to health issues. AI is an answer to public administration. AI is an answer to all. But AI is also contributing to certain negative things. Like, for example, you have a mobile phone called iPhone. There is something called Siri. We all, are in an apprehension that Siri listens to us. Sometimes we feel it listens to us. Whatever we communicate, it listens to us. Or even an Alexa, that what we have at our home. Alexa, I want to play this song. Alexa, wake me up in the good morning. But Alexa also listens to your private conversation. So which means the technology, what we think is a servant today to help you to transform your life, is also invading into your private life. So therefore, how are you going to protect the fundamental right of the privacy globally? Some fellow sitting in America probably would be listening to what we are all talking today, because your iPhones are open. Maybe there is some Alexa in some corner. We don't know. So how are you going to restrict this data, migration or misuse of the data, or spreading of the misinformation is something that I wish to. Sometimes I used to really wonder, when we are really talking something, suddenly Facebook gives the same kind of an advertisement. Why is this happening? That means there is some here, somewhere is listening to us. So what kind of laws that you make in is also a big question. And another important thing that I want you to also focus upon is we never think that, we thought at least, that the space is also an orbit of a conflict, but today we are all fighting. Suddenly we are thinking that there could be a cloudburst here, suddenly some program could be done in China, and then on international school there could be a, a flood of rain, could also flash floods can happen on, international schools. So this kind of a technological negative consequences are coming up. So technology is a servant, technology is also a master and a monster. But how is that the United Nations is going to mitigate the negative effects of the technological growth also is something that I want you to focus upon. And yes, just as what we have in India, all over the world we have the same kind of problems. As I mentioned to you, we are about 850 crore population as a globe, of which 800 million people probably are suffering with poverty. Not even a few dollars, $1 or $2 of income per day the people have. So what are you going to give solutions to address the poverty? Likewise, there are several social inequalities, economic inequalities, inequalities in terms of access to the health, access to the education. So all these issues have to be brought up in your discussion is what essentially I wish to submit to you. But finally, in a debate, I think the introductory remarks made by, I don't know who is that young lady who spoke here, that in a debate we argue to win. Yes, in a debate we argue to win. But in a diplomacy, what do you do? What do we do? In a debate, what do you do? I want to win, so I argue effectively. But in a diplomatic dialogue, what do you do? That's the difference between a debate and a dialogue. So in UN General Assembly meeting, all of you are not debating to show your lung power, but show your compassion, how much you understand, how much you care. At the same time to protect your overall national interests, but how well you also understand, empathize, and then help the other nation also to win. That is the essence of the whole UN. So the another important aspect that I wanted you to also, because you mentioned about press freedom, things like that. Increasingly, we call that fourth pillar of democracy is the press. That's what, no? We have a policy maker, policy executive, judiciary, and the fourth is the media. Unfortunately, media is completely suppressed. We don't get news, but we get views, and that too to align with each of these political parties. So what kind of a common media communication framework that you would want to bring in so that people get information but not the misinformation? So therefore, how do you that you're going to? The other important, you also talked about international law. We are in an era where जिसके हाथ में लाठी है उसका भय है. No law, unfortunately, in a democracy, we call ourselves the largest democracy world over, but it's also a hypocrisy. जिसके हाथ में लाठी है उसका भय है. I don't know how many of you young kids have followed the newspapers in the recent past. One of the judgments given by the High Court, I don't want to take the names. High Court said you replace an officer. The High Court said you replace an officer. Then the political executive said, I will not replace whatsoever. Now, how are you going to resolve these kind of issues? The same thing happened in the context of, the war between the Ukraine and Russia, where Trump tried to mediate in that Oval House, if you have seen. I want you guys to go to YouTube and then watch that, because you're all wanting to, represent UN and become the global leader. So I want you to listen to that small little conversation. 10-15 minutes of conversation between Zelensky, that Ukraine president, and then Trump, wherein the way that Trump has bullied them, Zelensky. But that's not what I would want you to learn from him. If you do so, then I think the whole purpose of this US General Assembly is gone for a toss. So you need to be compassionate, you need to accommodate others' views, you need to have empathy. I think that's the way I think you should run the show. And another very important thing, there is a struggle always. There is always a struggle. say as you encounter, as you grow, you really see this. There is always a struggle. The so-called democratic norms and constitutional frameworks versus how these frameworks are manipulated. So how we build an ethical frameworks for the nations so that they don't manipulate, maneuver, and then arm twisters. Trump is doing so today. I don't know who is representing America. But please, I beg your pardon. But the point is, if you go against him, I'm going to, impose tariffs on you. Is that so? Is that so? So that's not what a diplomatic dialogue is all about. That's not what it's about. How you compassionately respond to the needs of the other nations. So like that, I want you to be compassionate. I want you to be empathetic. I want you not to show your lung power, but show your mind power, show your heart power, so that you really understand the needs of the other nations. Very important, when you are deliberating in small groups with certain nations, try and gain as much knowledge as possible about the other countries. Research is important, knowledge is important. Then the articulation. You have great articulation, but you don't have the depth, then it makes no impact to get the right solution. So therefore, we want you to do thorough research, thorough knowledge, bring on to the table, and don't debate, but have a dialogue. And that is what is the essential intent of this UN assembly, is what I believe. And I have a lot more to talk, but I think your deliberations are more important than what I'm going to preach. But I really wish you very, very all the best. God bless you. You are the future leaders. One day, you never know, one of you may be Prime Minister of this country. One of you may be the Chief Minister of Telangana. Or one of you could go to America and then become a governor of any, many people in UK and US have become Indians, have become Prime Minister, governor, and so on. So one of you would become. I wish you very, very all the best. I wish you a very, very bright careers ahead. And I humbly thank Dr. Lakshmana to have given me this opportunity. Thank you, faculty members. Thank you all. So kind.